Good day, everyone. Today I will discuss modern fairy tales or tales of fantasy. Fairy tales are some of the most enchanting and enduring stories we read as children. We love fairy tale curses, happy endings, evil queens, big bad wolves, and the morals at the heart of the story. But whilst they may still be captivating, even some of the best fairy tales haven't aged well. Modern fairy tales bring them up to date, retelling the familiar stories with independent princesses that don't need rescuing evil queens who are not what they seem and children outwitting witches and wolves. Fairy tale retellings can be dark and twisted or witty and irrelevant to take on the classics. Which topics do modern fairy tales deals with and why? The core message of fairy tales is essentially timeless. Even in the times of the Brother Grimm, fairy tales were intended to educate. They deal with our primal fears, which were reflected by Hansel and Gretel, just as they are by Harry Potter, and they always present us with heroines and heroes who overcome challenges and are richly awarded as a result. Modern fairy tales expand on this pattern. A modern child, for example, is useless concerned with finding their way out of the forest but more anxious about getting good marks at school, which generally involve in belief in the veracity of the events described and explicit moral tales, including beast fables. In less technical context, the term is also used to describe something blessed with unusual happiness, as in a fairy tale ending. A happy ending or fairy tale romance, colloquially, in the term fairy tale or fairy story, can also any far-fetched story or tall tale. It is used especially of any story that not only not is not true but could not possibly be true. Legends are preserved as real within their culture. Fairy tales may emerge in the legend where the narrative is perceived both by tellers and hearers as being grounded in the historical truth. However, unlike legends and epics, fairy tales usually do not contain more than super special references to legend to actual places, people, and events. They take place once upon a time rather than in an actual times. Fairy tales occur in oral and literary form. The name fairy tale, conte de fées in French, was first ascribed to them by Madame d'Aulnoy in the late 17th century. Many of today's fairy tales have evolved from centuries-old fairy tales that have appeared with variations in multiple cultures around the world. So the history of the fairy tale is particularly difficult to trace because only the literary forms can survive. Still, according to the researcher at universities in Durham and Lisbon, such as stories may date back thousands of years, some to the Bronze Age. Fairy tales and works derived from the fairy tales are still written today. The Jatakas are probably the oldest collection of such tales in literature, and the greater part of the rest demonstrably more than 1,000 years old. It is certain that much, perhaps one-fifth of the popular literature of modern Europe is derived from those fortunes of this large bulk which came with the Crusades through the medium of Arabs and Jews. So one of the examples of the modern fairy tales is Enchanted with John David Anderson. This charming new novel by Miss Bitsby, last day author John David Anderson, is a literary fairy tale of Leia, Delphinium, Viges is one of the lucky fairies of the heavens, whose job it is to venture into the human world and grant wishes, but with magic level at an all-time low, granting wishes is as easy as it may seem. So, next is the Bee and the Rose. A bee and a rose fall in love, but when the queen's demands at a bouquet, must find a way to stay together. So, why fairy tales beneficial to children? Fairy tales do more aid in emotional resilience by helping children connect stories to real life. Fairy tale shows that people face adversity, but if they believe in themselves, they can overcome obstacles. Stories can help children confront real life fears and anxieties in a fantastical settings. That's all. Thanks for watching.